What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. It's the Distinguished Professor, and this is the Distinguished Professor YouTube channel.
All right. Next, man, we got the professor in the building again with us tonight, man.
Distinguished Professor is in the building, says, can't assassinate a revolution.
This is good info. The Distinguished Professor, what's going on, good brother? They said always leave them wanting more. Shout out to Media Man. Distinguished Professor, thank you, brother. Welcome back, man. You better learn how to sell a little bit and give a little bit away. That's good, man. I said it,
Professor.
I said it.
Oh,
The Distinguished Professor says, I need y'all to understand, overstand, and understand. That's a Umar Johnson reference.
You like my voice? It's how you want.
Hey, and we are back. Thank you guys for rocking with me, for watching all my videos, things of that sort. Hey, before we do get started, I need you to like, share, and most importantly, if you like the video, subscribe. If you hate the video, subscribe. If you're just okay with the video, damn it, subscribe. Make sure you send this to your friends. Make sure you send it to everybody you know. I'm always kicking out good content. Again, like, share, subscribe. Make sure you tap that notification bell so you're not targeted at any one of my next sessions. But today we're going to be talking about Kamala Harris's economic policy. Last week, while in Raleigh, she finally put a policy out there. She finally outlaid her economic policy, and it's complete crap. But let's get into it. But as you know, before we get started, class is in session. So I'm going to start with a video of a TikTok creator, and I'll link her information down in the description, and we'll pull that up. But yeah, we want to see what she talks about when it comes to economics, and then, as you know, I may interject, but I'll try to let her rock.
There is a desperate need for people to go back and learn basic economics before they're even allowed to vote, because what you don't understand is certain policies will ultimately negatively affect you. Let's talk about price fixing and price capping. If you price fix something, I'm a corporation, and you're telling me I could sell this product for $5, no more. That's what I have to do it at. But it costs me $4 to get that product to then sell it to you. Well, I'm not going to make enough money making $1 profit to keep my business open and pay my employees to keep it running. So I'm either going to A, order less of that product, creating scarcity, meaning there's a high demand and a low availability for that product, which is going to lead to black market and people selling them at exorbitant prices. Or I'm going to go to my supplier and I'm going to say, hey, I need that same product, but I need it with a little bit less quality. Cut the corners on some things because I have to sell it for no more than $5. So I need you to make it for no more than $3. So I can at least make $2 profit so that I could afford to keep my doors open and pay everybody. See how that works? So now you're paying more for something that's less quality, or you're going to end up paying more because there's not enough of it available, or you're just not going to have it. So there's that issue. Let's also talk about this throwing out, let's raise minimum wage. If you've ever owned a business, if you have to pay an employee $20 now instead of $15 an hour, well, that money has to come from somewhere. It's not going to magically appear. So I need to make that $5 difference between employees up. You know where I'm going to make that is I'm going to raise the price of the product I produce, because I can't take that out of my bottom line, because I also got to keep my business up and running and pay everybody and keep insurance and keep all the buildings going. So I'm going to do one or two things. I'm going to raise the price of my products that you're going to spend more so that you could cover that minimum wage, or I'm going to automate stuff and I'm going to fire employees and let them go, because I can't afford to keep 20 employees at $20 an hour, but I sure as shit can keep 10 employees or 12 employees at $20 an hour, because that would be the same as keeping all 20 at 15. Do you see how that works? Understanding basic economics before you vote for policies that are going to be detrimental to you in the long run because they sound good and they sound pretty. This is why a knowledge of basic economics is important.
And this is something I've spoke about with friends of mine, with just people in passing, when it comes to minimum wage. Raising minimum wage is not going to do anything but make less people hireable. They're going to hire less people. In some cases, companies, even McDonald's, I think in Fort Worth, Texas, McDonald's is doing fully automated restaurants. That is the wave of the future. That's another one out in California. Fully automated restaurants where, you know, everything is by machine. They rather offset the cost of buying the machine, that large cost up front, as opposed to having to continue to pay workers. I mean, there's a COGS, there's a cost of goods sold, and businesses are in the industry of making sure that their cost of goods sold is as minimal as possible so that they can make a profit. But when you talk about controlling certain things, you're going to ruin it. You're going to get things like this. Like I said, automated McDonald's. I'm gonna show it to you real quick. Let me hear it. Like here it is right here. Let's mute that real quick. Let me just hit the noise. But look at that, fully automated drive-through. You go to the kiosk, and you've all seen the McDonald's right now. They all have kiosks. I mean, barely anyone working at the front desk anymore. They all have kiosks. Some of them work, some of them don't. It's like the ice cream machine at McDonald's. It's fully automated. I think they have a few workers there just to make sure that nothing's going wrong. But it's a lot easier to have 2 or 3 workers as opposed to having 10, 11 workers working in the McDonald's. And this is the wave of the future. So y'all keep talking about raising minimum wage if you want to. You're gonna price out jobs, not only for people who are in need, but also those teenagers. That was someone's first teenage job, was McDonald's or Pizza Hut or something like that. And now you're in a situation where they're not going to have a place where they can go work. It's that right there this is what Kamala wants under her. Like, here's the one that I talked about in California.
Flippy the chef makes Spud spectacular. This automated grill gives the meat its sizzle as this restaurant goes robotic.
For this burger, it would take about 120 seconds.
Cali Express by Flippy is the world's first AI-powered eatery. There's new technology outside the kitchen, too.
A cheeseburger.
Order kiosks use facial recognition to remember you, your favorite food, and how you like to pay. Then watch the robots work. No humans required.
We can't get enough people to come out to work on fryers and grills. They're dangerous jobs. And this automation helps solve a lot of those issues.
62% of restaurants report being understaffed. Industry experts say most of those unfilled jobs could be done by robots. And in California, where the minimum wage for most fast food workers will soon be $20 an hour, fewer workers equals cost savings. Dan Ives is with Wedbush Securities, a wealth management firm.
Now, how can you survive as a company paying someone $20 an hour? $20 an hour, that is ridiculous. I understand California and New York are expensive areas to live in, but how can you afford to pay someone that much? Let's let this continue.
You can't necessarily pass all that to the consumer.
Flippy can cook 250 pounds of French fries an hour. The burger bot, 100 patties.
These restaurants are very, very busy at peak times, and every second that gets added to somebody waiting in drive-thru is a lost revenue opportunity for that restaurant.
Is it costing people their jobs?
That's not what we've seen. It's really here to help people.
We can all call BS on that. He knows it's costing people jobs. It's definitely going to cost people jobs because you're not having someone flip the burgers. You're not having someone dip the fries. It's costing people jobs.
Humans at Cali Express will put the finishing touches on orders. For customers, the price of the meals are competitive. As for taste,
Is it going to affect the quality and the taste?
I would say yes, in a good way, because now each burger is being cooked precisely the same way every time.
So you know what he just said there? No lawsuits for E. coli. No lawsuits for chicken when it comes to salmonella. That's what he's saying. So there are no lawsuits there because at the end of the day, you're not having to worry about human error or making sure something's cooked to a certain temperature. I asked Jack in the Box about things being cooked to a certain temperature. They'll tell you all about that. But when you have situations like this, you don't have to worry about it because the machine's going to do it itself. If the machine breaks, guess what? You fix it. You get another one and you fix it. So, I mean, this is Kamala's future. This is what she wants. And I'm going to show another video where an economist is talking about Kamala's economic plan. Let me play that real quick for you. So, what I like to do is I'd like to make sure that you guys have the information at your hands. I want to make sure I present the information for you. It's not hearsay. It's just not me talking. I want you guys to hear it from someone who's an economist who went to school for this. So let me go ahead and pull that up and play that for you. There we go.
Kamala Harris finally debuting her economic platform in a few hours. It's got new tax credits, costly support for first-time home buyers, and a federal ban on, quote, price gouging. Harris specifically.
So if you have not seen that, you saw that, right? Price gouging, which is a whole nother thing I'll get into. $25,000 for down payment assistance for homes. Again, but you can't. But that's going to go to the builder, right? So the builder will get that as a credit, and then a $6,000 child care tax credit. So yeah, this is wild. This stuff is terrifying.
It calls out grocery stores taking advantage of Americans. But look at this. Retailers reporting profit margins at 1.6%. Really? Is that gouging?
Again, most grocery store retailers profit between 1% and 3%. 1% and 3% is their gross margin. I mean, is their net margin. So think about this. They're at 1 point something percent, he's saying. They're profiting 1%. So for every $100 you spend, they get $1. So where are they making all this money from? Why are we talking about price gouging? Why are we talking about price fixing? You guys want the federal government all in your business? You know, we talk about the Roe v. Wade thing. That's federal government intervening in your everyday life. And I talked about this on a show before, that the least intervention of government in my life is what I 100% want. But you guys, under this Kamala plan, is what you want. You want more government intervention, which is crazy. Let them continue.
Former Trump chairman of the Council on Economic Advisors twice, Kevin Hassett, joins us. Kevin, from what you see and for what's been framed out for us this morning, what will this do?
Like, for an economist, this is about the most terrifying proposal I've ever seen, because what Kamala Harris is saying is that the government needs to set the price of things. And she's starting with food, but I guess if they're going to set the price of food, they might as well set the price of everything else. They've also come out, you might recall, the Biden administration saying that they want to set rents, that they think rents are too high. So they're going to have the government decide what the rent for your apartment should be.
So let's go again. The government wants to decide how much the apartment should be, your price for rent. They want to decide how much your food costs. Let's continue. Just if you're keeping notes at home, if you're keeping notes, rent and food. So food and shelter.
This is absolute socialism, and it never ends well. If you go back and look at the countries that have tried this, like Cuba, Venezuela, Ukraine, back when the Soviet Union organized it, then it leads to famine and shortages. And I was just in Lisbon, Portugal, where they still have really aggressive rent control, and all of the apartments are empty because the people who own the buildings can't afford to rent them to people because the rent is so low. And so this is an absolute disaster.
Pay attention to what he just said. People cannot afford to rent the apartments because the price for rent is too low. So they rather let them sit empty than make little profit or make no profit.
This is socialism at its highest. And the really chilling thing is that, think about it, it's right before the Democratic National Convention. She's the nominee. She should be trying to moderate her positions to appeal to swing voters. And instead, she's going all in on socialism. So what it means is these people really are that way. These people really believe in socialism. They want to change this country, and they're willing to say it, up front right now. And it's astonishing to me that she would do that.
But
And that economist talked about socialism quite a lot, and we're gonna delve into that in a second. But let me tell you why this price control stuff is a straight up train wreck. The Mises Institute. If you check out the Mises Institute, that's MISES, the Mises Institute. Check that out. I'll probably try to link it here. But they break it down when they say the government steps in and says, "Hey, you can't charge more than this for rent or for drugs or for whatever," because now, Kamala also, not only does she want to do rent control, she wants to stop the price gouging. She also wants to control the price of rent, wants to bring the cost of insulin down to $35 for Medicare patients, Medicare and Medicaid. So when a government says you can't charge more than what you should charge for rent or drugs or whatever, they're basically slapping a Band-Aid on a broken leg and calling it good. Imagine what it's like to have a Band-Aid on a broken leg. It doesn't work. It just does not work. It sounds great. So that sounds great on paper. Like, wow, cheap rent, cheap meds, awesome. But when what actually happens, the whole system goes to hell. And you'll see that. I'm gonna show you a video. I told you I'm good at showing videos so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Think about it. Kamala Harris pushes for price controls on prescription drugs. What's gonna happen? Sure, price is gonna drop at first, but then companies are like, why in the hell should we keep making this stuff if we can't even cover our costs? So then production slows down, it drops, innovation slows down, so you don't get no new drugs. You're gonna keep taking the same old bull crap that may not even be effective anymore. Suddenly, you can't even get the meds you need. So what does that do? It creates a black market. Or if you can't get the meds you need, someone's gonna make them. So now you can't even get the good quality meds that you need. It's like telling a baker they can only charge $1 for a loaf of bread. Yeah, you get cheap bread, but as soon as it's stale, there's less of it, and the baker's out of business. So again, if you lower the price of drugs, the baker's like, well, I'm not. The pharmaceutical company's like, well, I don't need to make any more drugs, so I'm not making money on this drug. So if I'm not making money on this drug, I don't have any money to innovate or to create a new drug that could possibly be even better. And if I can't, if I'm not making money on the drug I'm making, I'm not going to innovate. Then sooner or later, I'm going to create less drugs. And what does that do? Again, creates a black market, and it creates a bathtub market. So you're going to have people selling. They're going to be stealing drugs and selling drugs on a black market. Legit drugs, or they're going to be someone's going to be a bathroom chemist and put some stuff together. We already have a problem with fentanyl and heroin. Someone's gonna be making some stuff in the bathtub somewhere and selling it to people and people are gonna want it because they need it that much. They need it that much. That's how bad it is. The market is like a finely tuned machine. You start messing with the controls, throwing in government mandates, and that engine's gonna sputter and die. The reality is, price controls don't fix problems; they create bigger ones. Less supply, lower quality, longer lines, and guess what? The people who are supposed to benefit get screwed royally over and over and over again. It's like, hey, congrats, you saved a few bucks on rent, but now your building's falling apart, and there's no landlord around to fix it. I'm telling you, lower the rent. You're gonna have some slumlords out there. So yeah, price controls. Bad idea. They might look good at first, but they just get the whole system on fire. And you've got to ask yourself, do we really want to play with matches when the house is already fragile? We're in a house of cards. You want to play with matches in a house of cards? This approach not only calls out the pitfalls of price controls, but also connects it directly to real life consequences, making it clear how these policies can backfire spectacularly. So go read the Mises report, or the Mises report, Mises Institute report, where they talk about socialism, because this is what we're going to is socialism. We're getting close to that. I'm going to play this video so you can see. So there's a lot of migrants coming across that border. Our borders are supposedly, like I said, I didn't get into the borders are piece because there's some iffy things there. But our borders are who's the main people coming across the border? Venezuelans. Venezuelans are leaving Venezuela for a reason. So let me play you this video, because this is what America is going to look like if you get Kamala for 4 or 8 years, or you can get Tim Walz for another 4 to 8 years. So you're talking about 16 years of this radical left policy. So if this is what you want, and I'm gonna move my face out of it. If this is what you want, then you let me know, because this is what Venezuela was a different country before socialism took place. 2-minute video. Let's check it out. And remember, all this is fair use. All these videos are fair use.
The collapse of Venezuela's economy is both horrifying and predictable, and the world needs to understand why. Venezuela has the world's largest proven oil reserves, and it was once Latin America's richest country.
Caracas, the swinging city of Venezuela. Good climate, fine buildings, wide highways with plenty on them. All in all, a pretty nice place to be for many reasons.
Look how nice it looked in 1969. Nice place, wide highways. Looked like it had a good industry going on. But let's continue.
Today, most grocery store shelves are empty, and Venezuelans are so hungry that they're killing zoo animals for sustenance. Toilet paper, diapers, and toothpaste are luxury goods. Venezuelan hospitals have disintegrated. Children are dying because they can't get antibiotics, and the infant mortality rate is higher than Syria's. The capital city of Caracas is the murder capital of the world, and just 12% of citizens feel safe walking alone at night, which is the lowest figure reported in the world. The government blames slumping oil prices for the desperate situation, but the real cause is the socialist economy. The government sets the price of staples such as rice, pasta, and flour, resulting in chronic shortages. Former President Hugo Chavez nationalized industries, confiscated.
Did you hear that? The government sets the price for rice, pasta, and flour. You saw the line, right? You saw the empty shelves. You saw the hospitals. You saw the babies, the infant mortality rate being high. You've seen this. Murder rate high. They're killing zoo animals for food. This is Venezuela. Venezuela was not like this before. This is what America's going to fall into. This is not a scare tactic. This is what socialism is. Let's continue.
Confiscated property and kicked out foreign companies. The government is trying to print its way out of the crisis, resulting in a 700% annual inflation rate. After a sham election, President Nicolas Maduro, the handpicked successor of Chavez, is rounding up his opponents and putting them in jail. Despite this, Maduro and his predecessors still have their defenders, ranging from Sean Penn to Michael Moore to Naomi Klein, who once signed a petition saying, "We would vote for Hugo Chavez," and praised the autocrat in 2007 for creating a zone of relative economic calm and predictability. In 2013, journalist David Sirota praised Hugo Chavez's economic miracle, writing that the socialist leader had a record that a legacy-obsessed American president could only dream of achieving. But the real lesson of Venezuela's tragic collapse is that real socialism always leads to economic breakdown and political repression. Those of us in wealthier, freer countries need to keep Venezuela in mind as we confront calls for more regulation and government control of all aspects of our lives.
Hey, y'all heard that. Y'all heard that here first. I'm trying to tell you, this is Kamala's America. You do not want this in America. This is why a lot of people are saying if she gets elected, we love America, but we're leaving. This is what she wants. So the first policy she wrote out came from Trump. No tax on tips. The second policy she's rolling out is raising minimum wage. So we get automation. We get robots to do the job. She talked about price gouging. We just showed you that the grocery stores are operating on a 1% margin, and they only operate between 1% and 3%, right? So what are they going to operate? What are they gouging? Okay, so they want to regulate and fix the costs. You saw here, pasta, rice, and flour are being regulated, and there's a shortage, right? So, and you saw the lines. In addition to that, she wants to regulate the price of drugs. Now you have infant mortality. Now you have people not getting seen. So everything has a give and a take. There's an ebb and a flow. There's a yin and a yang to everything you do. She wants to fix the rent. When government fixes the rent, that means the landlord's not going to rent it out because they're not making money. And if they do rent it out, they're not going to make the necessary improvements to the property. So now you live in crappy housing and you're paying out the yin yang for it. This is Kamala's America. How is this going to fix inflation? How is this going to fix our situation now? It's not. It's only going to make it worse. And how does that impact Black America? Black America is going to make your life even worse than what it is. And God forbid you are at the poverty level or below. God forbid you're middle class or below, because at the end of the day, your life is going to become a living hell under Kamala Harris's presidency. I can guarantee it. I can guarantee it. So let's continue. I got a couple more things to show you. But I'm not gonna lie. For those of you who think I'm going off a deep end or whatever, this all makes sense. The things that Kamala Harris is pushing, because you learn from your parents, whether directly or indirectly, you learn from your parents. And Kamala's father was a Marxist. No, this is not alleged. I would say allegedly just to cover myself. But her father was a Marxist. If you don't believe me, let's pull it up. This is a Snopes article. Snopes is known as being a fact checker. Kamala Harris' father was a Marxist. So what does it say? Fact check. What does it say? True. So this ain't lies. This is from Snopes. Kamala Harris' father was a Marxist economist. Look up what Marxist economist is. Look up what. So like I said, look it up. Let me define it real quick. So just for you guys that don't want to look it up, but I implore you to. A Marxist economic system is a theory of economics that is rooted in the ideas of Karl Marx. It advocates for a classless society where the means of production, such as factories, land, and resources, are owned collectively rather than by private individuals. In a Marxist economy, the distribution of goods and services is based on the principle from each according to his ability to each according to his needs, meaning resources are allocated according to individuals' needs rather than through the market competition of profit motives. Key characteristics are a collective ownership. This means The means of production are owned by the community or the state rather than by private individuals or corporations. That's the collective ownership of Marxism. Central planning. Economic activities and production decisions are centrally planned and controlled by the state rather than being determined by market forces. Class struggle. The system is designed to eliminate the class distinctions that arise from capitalism, where a small elite, the bourgeoisie, owns most of the wealth and working class sells their labor for wages. Abolition of private property. Marxism calls for the abolition of private property, arguing that it leads to exploitation and social inequality. Okay. Distribution based on needs. Resources and goods are distributed based on individual needs rather than through the accumulation of wealth or profit. The goal of a Marxist economy is to create a society where wealth and power are distributed more equally, eliminating the disparities that exist under capitalism. Some of this sounds okay, right? But no. Collective ownership, that means there's no Apple, right? There's no Google. So that stifles innovation because you're talking about collective ownership. It's owned by a community or by the state, aka the government, by the government. The means of production are owned by the government, the state. Central planning. Everything we plan, production decisions, so how much we produce is controlled by the state. Class struggle. Well, there's no class struggle because everyone's the same, because everything is decided and produced by, you guessed it, the state. Abolition of private property. No more private property. So that $25,000 she's talking about, gone by the wayside. $25,000, you can own a house, but guess what? And under Marxism, there is no house ownership. The house is owned by the state. Distribution based on needs. The government decides, hey, this is what we need to distribute. This is what's needed. This is what we think you need. So the state is deciding what gets distributed. So this is Marxism. This is socialism. This is like communism. This is what Kamala Harris is producing. This is what she's talking about. And I just want to pull up one more piece of content for you guys. It's going to come from the Washington Post. Sorry about that. But I'm not paying. It has a paywall. So there's another article I'm going to get it from. But like I said, we talked about Marxism, and this particular columnist is talking about Kamala's price control plan is communist. So let me pull that up real quick. Let me do it this way. So the Washington Post, their slogan is "Democracy dies in darkness," right? So on Thursday, I'm guessing the Thursday before August 16th, the Washington Post WAPO columnist Catherine Rampol had an opinion piece published in which she claimed in the headline, "When your opponent calls you a communist, maybe you don't propose price controls." And I'll open that up for you. So this is the Washington Post article. Like I said, it has a paywall. I'm not paying for it. So let me go back. So it just goes down that aspect. It talks about it. But it says, but more to your point, if your opponent claims you're a communist, maybe you don't start with an economic agenda that can accurately be labeled as federal price controls. Rampol wrote, "We already have plenty of economic gibberish coming from the Republican presidential ticket. Do we really need more from the other side too?" So, so I don't think she's a Trump person, but she said, "You guys are Democrats. We have enough economic gibberish coming from them. You guys providing us with even more." So again, they're telling you that they want to put governmental controls in place the government controls a place that not only control the prices of goods, but also control what taxes and tips, but they want to control a lot of things in your life. which is ridiculous. So if this is what you want, is that what you want? You know, is this what you want? Then Kamala is definitely the president you want to choose. And the funny thing is, everything she's talking about, she's the vice president, pseudo president, for what some people are saying. Why are you not putting some of these things in place now? You have the ability to do so. You're just talking about it. This is all rhetoric right now. So I didn't mean for this video to go as long as it did. You know how my videos go when it comes to me putting other videos in, linking to other content. But again, guys, you have to pay attention to what they are saying. You just have to, because right now she wants federal government to control your body. She wants federal government to control your housing. She wants federal government to control your medicine. She wants federal government to control the drugs you take and the food you eat. Like, what else does she want federal government to do? Tim Walz wants you to have the ability to delete your baby right up until its birth. Like how far left are we going with this? Like, what is America? What country are we living in to where this is a situation? I don't get it. I won't get it. So what this is the America you guys want. So if people who say, oh, you're not black if you vote for Trump, you're not black if you vote for Trump. If you don't vote for Kamala, you're not black. If you vote for Trump, you're not black. If you don't go for the black woman, you're not black. This is weird. But since when was Trump not loved by black? Yeah, I guess all my black friends forgot about this.
Sir, it is my esteemed pleasure to introduce Mr. and Mrs. Donald Trump. It's the Donald! Oh my God!
So at 32 minutes, I'm going to go ahead and end it here. Hey guys, I want to thank you guys for staying to the end of the video. I appreciate you guys, all you guys that rock with me, that watch my videos and share them with people. If you're not sharing my videos, what the hell are you doing? Share them. Make sure everyone's getting this content. It's talkable situations. It's talkable content. I don't care whether you like it or love it. Share it. Share it to anybody you can. If it's boring, tell me. If it's exciting, tell me. If it's just okay, tell me. But I want you to go ahead and share the content. Like, share, and subscribe the content to everybody. Get it out. But I appreciate everyone that rock with me from day one, that's been there. All the people that's coming in, that's finding my channel, continue to rock with me. I will continue to put out relationship reaction videos. I'm going to continue to be on Grown Men Talking on Sundays between 4 and 6. Every Sunday between 4 and 6. I'm going to continue to be on Black Man Unfiltered BMU's network on Tuesdays at 9:30. I'm going to continue these things. I'm going to be in other places as well. I'll be dropping the video we did for Medium Man the other day. So definitely stay tuned, stay abreast. I'm gonna continue to drop Kamala Harris stuff. But again, I appreciate every single one of you guys for being here, every single one of you people for being here today. But again, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you tap that notification bell so you're not tardy to any one of my next sessions. But as you know, this session's over. Class dismissed.